don't overthink it. It's not that serious. All we're trying to do is go through a process of refinement. I like to start the mission, vision, and values early because most people get to the end when they're doing their pitch and they forgot. They're like, oh, I don't really have a mission. I don't have a vision. I'm just pitching for money. And anytime you're pitching for money, you got to have a why. So what I want to do now is I want to make sure individuals are building out their why so that they're not just thinking about, oh, I'm about to pitch and get me some money. No, I'm about to pitch and get money to grow my business so I can actually address my why, right? We don't necessarily think through a lot of things. We just rush to go get the bag. Anybody think about the bag a lot? Raise your hand. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about that bag. What does the bag mean to you, Mike? I got you on the spot. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the bag to me, in relation to that, definitely means like sustainability.
Okay, no, I'm listening. I'm listening. But please, everyone, just go ahead.
Yeah, just sustainability, being able to have this.
Okay.
I know what. Yeah, I'm just out there.
Okay. So, bag. What does bag mean to you?
Enough funding to have enough funding to supply my dream, my business, and my lifestyle.
Awesome. I love it. What does the bag mean to you?
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom. Expound on that just a little bit because financial freedom is such an umbrella term. We need to drill down a little bit on it for you and what you mean for your business.
Money to fund the lifestyle and take care of family.
Okay. That's core. Fund your lifestyle, take care of family. We have to be mindful, are we doing our business for us? Are we doing it for lifestyle? Are we doing it for family? Because if you do it for lifestyle, that's one purpose and desire. But if you do it for family, that stretches you because it's something outside of you, right? So be mindful of that when we talk about business. A lot of people are, I'm just doing it so I can style out in Turks and Caicos, right? You're like, bro, that's not going to be enough because when you come back from Turks and Caicos, your family's going to be looking at you like, but we ain't got no AC in the house, and the fridge is half empty. Turks and Caicos for what, right? Legacy. Okay. So the bag means legacy? Elaborate.
So the bag brings legacy. So getting everything, like all of what everyone has said is included in that. But like you need the bag in order for you to cultivate the legacy and have that continuous flow of money go through you, your family, your family's family.
Mm-hmm. I had to, or I was going to get beat down, so I had to learn it.
Legacy for me is being coupled with what everyone else said, but also creating, right, an option, right? So again, I have 14 nieces and nephews, right? So I need them to know that they have the option so they can do whatever they want. They don't have to be a basketball player, they don't have to be a baby daddy. You know, they don't have to be any of those things, right? You have the option to grow and do what you want.
Beautiful. Jody, the bag. What does the bag mean to you? Community? Elaborate.
The bag means community purpose, financial freedom. It means leading by example. It means come up story. It means motivate, to serve. Most importantly, to serve.
Awesome. And tell everyone your name because you weren't here last week, but I wanted everybody to know who you are.
Okay. Hey everyone, excuse my voice, I'm tired. So my name is Katerina Abreu, I'm actually a fashion designer, I've been doing this for 7 years. And the reason I'm here, I mean, you ask me specific questions, and I'm like, certain question you ask it is the reason I'm here. So it's like, I'm a little iffy about answering specific how you want me to. That's why I wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit before we go on, because, you know, the different branch of business. Yeah, so business is like different, has different structure. For fashion, like, for example, I feel like it's a little bit different. So I kind of wanted to I mean, this is probably not the time. But, you know, I wanted to kind of tell you like where I stand and like what I'm looking for in the program, and if it's like a one-on-one. Even if we can do a private, I can explain to you what I'm actually looking for.
I get it.
Because I feel like, you know, I took a class prior to this, and like, you know, they explain everything, but I feel like for me, I don't just learn by lecture. If you just lecturing to me, I just be like, okay,
Yeah.
what's next? I'm more like a hands-on.
You're
kind of
hands-on, you're
person.
immersive.
Yeah.
So what does the bag mean to you?
Okay,
If you were to reach.
to me, bag, well, right now I do this full time, so bag for me right now is a way of providing to my family.
Okay.
Like I'm not, before this was my full time job, this was more, for me, what I do is my passion.
Right.
So it was more about passion versus money, but right now it's more about money because I need to provide everything's expensive.
Exactly.
But I want to be able to learn how I can be able to still enjoy what I do.
And still make a profit.
Yes. Because
Awesome.
right now I feel like I'm chasing money.
You're not. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. So, Marquise, right? So, stand up. This is your first time. Everybody that hasn't seen this is the brother Marquise. He was online, but now he's in person. And tell a little bit about the bag, right? But also a little bit about your company and yourself. Yeah, you can sit.
Well, I'm Marquise. I run a business called Launchpad. It's basically a fashion brand, but it's like to motivate, inspire, like, people who are afraid, I would say, to take risks and, to level up. Like, I feel like if we take risks, there's always opportunity, and I feel like that's what it's all about. I started it probably 3-4 years ago, and I'm more online. I'll say like I'm more online now, but it's going. I was going this business. So.
Welcome. Welcome, Mark. Welcome.
You want to know what the bag is?
Yeah. So, what does the bag mean to you?
I would say not really the money. I would say more like just inspiring, like people like your younger self, and having freedom of doing what you want, how you want to live.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, who did the last mission statement and vision statement? You can choose who goes next. Tiziano's next. It seems. Oh no, it's Amaya's over here. Amaya's got to go. Go ahead, brother. Mission, vision, and value statement. It's a draft. We love you. So it's not. Yeah. It's a work in progress.
Thanks for picking me.
Yep. There you go. Well, Dana, she's gonna beat you up out there.
So, mission statement: develop local and emerging artists and art organizations by providing access to subsidized space and supportive services within a healthy environment that nourishes wellness, creativity, and collaboration. Vision statement: to forge sustainable structures that benefit generations to come. And then the value statement actually is something that I really struggle with. So a few things I wrote down was we address the silos amongst communities within similar socioeconomic demographics to ours, using the language of arts, and we are democratically managed so that we stay true to the voices of our storytellers.
Awesome. Now you get the great duty of picking the next person. I'm gonna go to the car and get a few these small canvases. Who needs a blank sheet canvas? 1, 2, 3, 7. Okay. All right. I'll pick the brother right here. Nice to meet you, man. This is my first time on the
All right, our newest, sorry, can we pass one? Oh, you choose.
All right, so my mission statement: to be the bridge to the digital divide. That is our mission. Canvas Foundation's mission is to be the bridge to the digital divide. Our vision is to become a world leader in environmentally sustainable solutions for digital needs. And our, what was the last one? Value?
Value.
Vision. Let's see, mission, value, vision. And our value statement, we believe that everyone deserves access to digital, to the digital universe. Yep. You say that last part? We believe that everyone deserves access to the digital universe. I mean, shoot.
Yeah, I guess it's me. Alright, well, my mission statement is a mobile traveling truck, thrift truck that expands style and culture across borders. My vision statement is to provide opportunity, experience, and sustainability. And my value statement is providing sustainability to the environment to expand affordability and accessibility in diverse communities. Got it.
What am I supposed to answer again?
Your vision statement, your mission statement, and your value statement.
See? Your mission,
So-
vision, value.
Life happened, and I do not have my hard copy here. I have a bunch of different drafts. But my mission statement is Creative Salon Consulting Company focuses on bringing unique projects to life. Whether through project development or personal development, we focus on building community organically by bringing these projects to life. It's very choppy. What's the vision statement again? What does that mean?
Where you going?
Where I'm going? I realized I pretty much realized what COVID did. Wait, what's that one again?
The value statement?
That was it. What is it again?
Like your base, what's your base?
Okay. So through COVID, after COVID, I realized that after COVID, anyways, or somewhat after COVID, when everybody started yelling, "We outside," it's just like, yeah, we're outside, but there's almost a lack of community. It's almost like people were siloed off for quite a while, so it's very rare that you see events that allow you to actually network and to build. Most of the events that I've seen in my 30s, but most of the events that I've seen are promotional or it doesn't allow for a building community. So where I see this company in the future is creating unique events that provide an opportunity for people to build community organically.
Awesome, pass. Who's next?
Hi, friend. What is your name?
9K, she's a speaker. 2 speakers are here. So you're gonna have an awesome time after you wrap up the circle. So who needs to talk next? Who did not go yet? This is the hero, and this is her first time here. We would like her to take the mask just slightly off, just to see everyone's face, and you can put it back on. That's the beautiful Sahara Mitchell, and she is an awesome art and also a just want to make sure she is. And you're last to go, right?
No,
Who else? You haven't gone? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's shoot.
So, my mission statement is community arts nurtures a safe space for healing, inspiration, and education across multicultural generations through the engagement of arts and the practice of both Black and Indigenous people of color, race, conscious, social justice, and educate our communities to work together. My value statement is community arts is a multifaceted brand that focuses on creating opportunities for joy. And community arts is art as a connector to innovation. My healing and then for the vision, but looking to hold into community arts engagement and support community literacy through arts. And my passion design.
all right, so mine's might be a little rough.
It's fine. Your mom's family.
My brand is called Laopy. Laopy is a women clothing brand, and our mission is to serve women of various shapes and sizes. And the idea, we love the idea of family, so, sorry, I just read something about that. The idea of family is very important to us. For that, our focus is to create family sets to get families together. We believe by creating elegant matching set, we'll bring family closer together because they will have the pride of belonging. Our creation embodies self-love, confidence, and empowerment. That was my mission. And for value statement, I said Laopy is about providing quality products to our clients. We provide 2 different branches of goods, which are ready to wear and custom. So you can either go online and purchase, or I can customize something for you. I'll make that short. And the difference between us and our competitors is that we are passionate about each piece we create. And we also incorporate different techniques while creating our gown. We also try to bring the African fashion infused within Western world fashion. And the last piece is my vision statement. The vision is to be able to serve and inspire people all over the world through our program.
And yes, if you would like to stand and project, that's fine. If not, just project from your.
So the mission statement for is to empower and guide Black youth and communities to reactivate their personal relationships with behavioral practices. Through mindfulness education and mental health awareness, we inspire people to want to change their lives from the inside out.
Awesome, awesome. And you are the last to go, right? Everyone else is gone. So at this time, I would like to introduce our Fairmont Innovation Lab Launchpad alumni in session. This is 9K Winscott. If you wanted to pull around to the front so that everyone can see the beautiful braids and the glam up, and then we can get into a little bit about who you are and also your opportunity and your time at the Launchpad and what you're currently doing now. And then we can get into a little bit of Q&A, roughly about 10, I'm gonna give you about 15 on the clock, 10 to, do your spiel, and another 5 for the Q&A. Because she was in Launchpad 2021, and she was, and still is a winner, and she won our first prize. She came in, had no clear pitch deck, and she was like, Hakeem, I'm gonna get this done. And at the last minute, she pushed it out, crunch time, and she did it. She won. It was a little bit of bread, like 2 stacks, was that? Like 2 stacks? She won like 2 stacks for first prize. It wasn't my money, so I was like, word, take that 2 stacks. So yeah, so the floor is yours. This is Nike Scott from Nike Design.
Hi guys. Super nervous that I was gonna really talk like this. But yeah, so like you were saying, I was part of the 2021 cohort, and we're like virtual, so none of us really got to meet each other until like the very end. It was much different. And yeah, so I really came in with just an idea. I'm a graphic designer, self-taught. So all that I really knew was I wanted to do design and I wanted to be a business owner and I felt a calling to entrepreneurship. But I just didn't know like how to piece those things together. And then so when I started the 6-week Launchpad program, I learned about business. I learned about how to use other people's money. I learned about business credit, LLC, all these things that I literally had no clue existed. I just felt like people just started businesses. Like, I was like, I'm a business owner. I just started. But I didn't know it was all these things to it. So I was able to learn all of that. We had a lot of workshops where people came in and taught us about finances, mental health as an entrepreneur, all these things. And at the end of it, I was able to develop Nice Design Studio, which is my design and branding business. It's now transitioning and has transitioned to Nicely Done Productions because I felt like there was more of a need for media, photography, and other services to the people I'm trying to serve. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, the pitch competition at the end. You guys excited for that or nervous? I was super nervous. I never pitched ever in my life. I literally don't get this on camera prepared the day before, night before, stayed up like 4 a.m., getting emails, where's your pitch, where's your pitch? I'm like, it's done, I sent it to you. I did it, I was just still going, super nervous, but God did his thing and I won, super shocked. I was actually one of these pants, crazy. That's something similar. And yeah, so that was pretty much my journey and very clueless, very much the process.
Yeah, from week 1, when you first got in, you started to give a sense of what the business model that you wanted to have, and then how you kind of like moved through from week 1 to like week 4 or 5.
Yeah, I have to really think about that. When I came in, my business model was non-existent. I was able to develop one along the way. Honestly, when we were doing workshops about business models and stuff, I still didn't have mine. Like it was very much in development. And even my mission values, like listening to you guys, I'm like, wow, you guys already like know your stuff. It's still changing. Honestly, the vision is still developing, but in that time when I was building a business model, I pretty much kind of looked stuff up, copied a little bit, adjusted my stuff. We had mentors in the program, and my mentor, who her name was God, what was her name? How did I forget? I still talk to her. Let's see, Crystal. It's not Crystal, but she really helped me to kind of develop a more focused business model. Um, and so yeah, I don't know what else. Sorry, what specifically? Okay. Oh yeah, let's chat
So
guys.
Q&A, about 5 questions from the audience, more so kind of to help them kind of polish, but we have to keep it fairly short because we do have a speaker of the week here also. So shoot your shot, ask your question, but definitely know that we have to keep it.
Question for you is, what was the most useful piece for this? Like, if you could say one thing that really helped you get started in the business, what would that be?
The financial sessions, because as a business owner, I feel like we're and like creatives, we bootstrap everything, and we feel like we have to fund it ourselves, and that's the reason why we get into like we get into trouble, we like give up. So having that knowledge about how to work your finances and use other people's money and business credit, all that stuff, like it saved my life. Literally, I thought she was making it up. I was like, there's no way I could get other people's money to start this. But, oh my gosh, I feel like it just confronted me because I'm still working on that. It's super important as an entrepreneur to have a routine. Honestly, if you can get up at 5 a.m., get up at 5 a.m. If you get up at 6,
Hi, it's muted. I can't hear anything. Sorry to interrupt. One of them can be muted or taken off as a sound, like a dial connect sound.
Can you hear anything now?
Can you hear us?
Can't hear anything. All right, hold on. Can you hear anything now?
Yeah, sounds good. Speak a little louder, but you guys look great, sound great.
okay.
Can you put yourself on mute, please?
Yeah, can you mute? Hey, yes, everyone online, can you mute until you need to speak? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, like I was saying, routines are super important. Honestly, I would say to make or break. Because for example, I had like a 10 a.m. meeting with a client. I rolled out of bed at like 9:30, and I didn't have time to really prepare. So I was kind of stumbled talking to her, and I didn't end up closing it. And so I'm like emailing her to try to close it later. So that's an example of like managing your time, having a good routine so that you could maximize the day and get what you need done, and make your money and do your thing and impact people, whatever you're doing. So it's honestly number one.
Why graphic design?
Graphic design?
Yeah.
What?
Why graphic design?
Why graphic design? Quite honestly, I'm a believer, and I really think that that's what God put on my heart. I really tried everything. I try to go into the medical field. You know, I try to work, do all these different jobs. I went through so many majors. I transferred like 4 times. So very indecisive girl. But I knew like I loved art. I loved like visual stuff. Like that stuff like made my heart beat so fast. And so I think I stumbled upon and discovered graphic design. And when I started teaching myself, I just knew it was it. She's the it girl. Right now I'm doing branding, which is still design, but it's encompassing a lot of different things in order to serve people better. But yeah, I just honestly, I felt like it was a calling, and I love it.
I did want to ask something that I struggle with is coming up with like services and how much to charge for services. How did you go through that process of determining, all right, this is what I can provide and this is how valuable it is, or how much I want to charge for it?
Yeah. In the beginning of my journey, it was really based off of what people were asking me to do. So as a designer, there's a lot of things I could do, but I felt like people were asking me to do logos all the time. So I was like, I'll just do logos. And then they started asking me for flyers, and I was like, I'll do flyers. But then as the time went on, I figured that they needed other things. Like I knew when I designed a logo, for example, and they left, I knew that logo was not going to sustain their business. Like I knew it, I felt so bad about it. So I knew that they needed fonts, they needed colors, they needed a website. So I developed a brand package, I developed a web design package. So I really based it off of what I knew my client or the people I'm servicing would need to be successful. So what is your sector?
Well, I'm here for the development of Dorchester Art Project.
Oh, okay.
But that question kind of stemmed from a more personal level when I've been doing like promotions, for example. That's something that I've been doing on the side, and sometimes it's really hard for me to do. I'll promote just stuff on my Instagram, my personal Instagram page, like 3 times a week. And this is how much is fair to charge for that, and here's some other services that I can provide. You know, it's kind of hard to really sell that.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not really too familiar with that space. But what popped in my head was like newsletters, lists. You could do charge people for posting for them, networking events. So I think just like what your community needs, you just come up with services off of that. And then also you could look at other people who are doing what you're doing and what they're offering. And as far as pricing, that stuff is really a forever ongoing thing. But I would say, honestly, I don't know how to price your stuff. I can't lie. I started charging $10 for a logo, now I charge $1,000. It just kind of moved along. So I think you'll figure it out as you go. But I would honestly say, whoever is mentoring you in that space, talk to them and look at your peers who are doing the similar things. See what they're charging, what packages they're offering, and kind of try to match it and adjust it to be like your own style, I would say.
So what was the mental leap from a $10 to $1,000?
Mental leap?
Yeah, like how did you?
Oh, I fought for my life, guys. Like literally, okay, I started for free. Let me tell you the truth. I started for the free. I started charging nothing, and then I started seeing more people come to me. So, you know, honestly, my family members believed me. They're like, you have to charge, you have to charge. I was like, fine, $10. And then, you know, I started getting really good, and I knew people needed it. So I went up to 50. And then when I went up to 50, I kind of, you know, I was growing up, the bills were billing. So I kind of looked at what other people were charging, and I saw in that space, people were charging thousands. I didn't feel comfortable. So I looked to my mentor. At the time, she was charging 300. So I was like, I'm gonna charge 150, not 300. I had a panic attack when I did that, but I did it anyway. And then it just gradually moved up. I recently changed it to 1,000 last week.
Say word.
Last week.
Say word.
And it's honestly, there's a whole psychology to pricing. Another reason why I had to change my prices was to encourage people to go for a branding package. Because like I said, I felt bad just giving them the logo. I knew that I wasn't gonna do it for them. So if my package is $2,000 and you're paying for $1,000 logo, you might want to go with the package. Like you might want to get the whole thing. So there's definitely psychology to it. You really gotta feel confident and comfortable and just be confident in what you're doing to price yourself at a certain, rate. And you have peers, mentors that could tell you you're good. Don't ever price yourself low.
Give it up for Nike. Give it
Thank
up.
you.
So I want to thank Nike for coming out. And I want to make sure you know that you're still family, you're appreciated, and a lot of individuals may need some sort of one-on-one or mentorship, and they may need to kind of sit with you to think through what, because some individuals in this Launchpad are still in rough stage business idea development. So I want to make sure y'all know that as part of the alumni, she's also, accessible to all of you all also. So feel free, make sure y'all network with her, get her number, email, connect with her, make sure y'all stay relevant in her space because there's a lot that's going on with her. So and at this time, we're gonna break for about 5 so everyone can kind of stretch their feet. There's some snacks over here, and then we're gonna come back with wonderful, intelligent and suspenseful and exciting Yolanda Burrell. And she's going to give you about 8 slides to talk about business operations. She holds an MBA from Suffolk University. So you did, food, fruit, water, snacks. Anybody wants anything? Something. From ideas to execution.
It's not that clear.
Yeah, so you already have it.
What you can do is create
Same paper. It's the same paper.
gradient.
Differences.
I don't know, it's like kind of an overlay on top of the image so that it could, put an overlay.
So everyone online, we're taking a 5. I don't know if anybody can see me.
You could do that, whatever color.
We're taking 5.
Whatever color you do, make sure that the words that are. You're doing like a yellow overlay. If you're doing like a brown, then you could do yellow. Yeah.
All right. So I have your slides set up. As you see, I just centered everything. I centered it all. I centered it everything. So this is your cover, and I have the slide 7. I think you sent me 8. Maybe. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna offer your cue. I'm gonna move through. So I'm gonna sit to this side, right? And when you tell me to go, I'm going to face. Yep, just point at me, and I'll keep moving. This is Southern University Black Women Network committee team member, MBA, Southern University, and also she's kick-ass in her space of wellness, but she's Vita Sana, but she does wellness. So that's my guy. Hire this guy over here, because he'll turn into a whole production over here. They turn into a whole production. If you want to sit, that's comfortable. You can use a chair. Yeah, you want to sit up here or you want to sit up right here? Huh? I can manage that. Good, that's fine. That's fine. You're good. If you wanna just click, yep, she's ready, she's gonna point at you. This right here? Yep. And we will be setting back up in 2 minutes, so everybody feel free to bathroom break or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you can turn yourself into this.
What did I do?
No.
What did I do, Christian?
Are you a real man, the most loving guy in this earth? Most passionate, giving.
So you guys complain about this?
How is that genuine that you're so kind for giving us? What?
No.
We have salad over here too for all of the salad people. I am a salad people too, but usually with steak or shrimp or chicken on top of the salad. So.
The point is,
How are you?
So.
Oh, you all set?
So at this time, not to waste anyone's professional moments, I would love for everyone to sit and just please come back together so that we can get started.
Nice to meet you.
All right, ladies, if everybody can hear my voice, clap once. No. Everybody can hear my voice, clap twice. Everybody can hear my voice, clap 17 times. There we go. Let's get it. Now, we have a special speaker of the week who is going to be with us for several slides and the rest of the evening. But we want to respect her time because she is a mother, she is a professional, and she is a sister of color that has things to do.
thank you.
Absolutely. So we give everybody about a minute to get it together. And, we will start at the singing. So at this time, I would like to introduce everyone to the wonderful, intelligent, and exciting, and she is in her hot girl red tonight, pump suede with the business candy stripe. She's not playing with it. Myself, we're actually part of the Suffolk University Black Alumni Network. She is part of my team. We do the mentoring for the students of color in the law school, business school, and the College of Arts and Science. Over the past year plus, 2 years, they've had me on there. They've been wringing my neck. They've been having me come back for 3 years now. I'm about to retire. I wanted to bring her in because she works in the space of wellness. And I wanted to make sure everyone knew a little bit about what she does, her company, but also a little bit about her background and her connections to the community. So at this point, I will hand it over to Yolanda Burrell.
Thank you, Raquel. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me tonight. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody's well. I see you guys getting your energy to keep you going and thinking, so that's good. I'm glad I was timed with the food. That's important. So, yeah, I'm Yolanda. I graduated from Suffolk University with my MBA in 2018. I graduated from UMass Boston in 2011. I've been in healthcare for now 21 years, a long time, and seen a lot of the changes in healthcare and just wanted to rise to the occasion and get inserted into the community to keep us healthy, because I realized that it doesn't matter at the end of the day, if we're not healthy, we can't do anything. So I started a company called Vida Sana, which means healthy life in Latin. I'm originally Cape Verdean descent. And so just wanted to have something that impacts not only my people, but people of color and people across the diaspora. So as you can see, my logo, I thought of you, is basically a woman coming out of sprouting, right? And it's a tree because it resonates with life. And so that's really part of it. And the slogan is because everyone deserves a healthy life, a better life. But as our alumni spoke of, you're always pivoting with a business, right? It's like you start off with something and then you end up over here, right? Like I intended to start off with this and then ended up over here. So originally I wanted to start off with working older people out. So people over 65 and over, 70, just being in healthcare, I started to see a lot of comorbidities and disease and just things impact, especially people of, our people of color. And so I started off by working out like an 85-year-old woman. And she's like, work me out. I go, oh my God, you're outrunning me. But it just resonated with me how, and she was saying that she was the one last person standing in her family and her friends, her husband, everyone. And what inspired that is that she got up every day. She's an Irish lady. She got up every day and she did Hail Marys around the track. And about 9, I would say 10 times, and she was brisk. And I'm like, no, this lady is not about to outwork me. I mean, I'm pretty fit. I work out. But she was just going. And so when we started talking, she's like, you have so much to offer to people. And so I'm saying, I'm in healthcare and I'm seeing people 40 years younger than her come in and can't even stand up, right? Need a cane or something with assistance. So that is what kind of galvanized and put that battery in my back to say, if we're not healthy, we don't have anything, right? And so that's what Vida Sana, the origination of that and where it came from. And so I'm going to talk to you guys tonight about business operations. I know you guys are in the infancy stage of building a business. I heard some of your missions and your visions, which I think is great. And as Nike spoke earlier, that can change too. It's fluid, right? It's always moving. And so what I want to talk about is business operations as a whole, because I think when we think of our business holistically, there's a lot of elements that sometimes we don't think about, but we as the business owner have to know, right? At least we have to know it. Even if we're not the expert, we have to have a general sense of what's happening, okay? So we're gonna get started. Yeah. So the basics to business operations is like, once you have your, if it's an LLC, if it's a C Corp or S Corp, whatever your structure is, you need to think about the physical operations of your business, right? And so business operations includes our locations, the processes, the resources, and the other tools that need for you to transform input into output, right? And so your input is going to be your labor, your material, capital, right? And then your output is going to be that service or that good that you're able to deliver to the end user, all right? If you maximize your output for profitability, that means that basically you have to make sure you're organizing your input, right? So if you know the term garbage in, garbage out, same thing, right? You have to be able to really put that in. And as a business owner, it's going to be essential for your operations to function well and to integrate with one another effectively. And we'll get into more about how that looks. And so the day-to-day management is overall the biggest thing. And first, you need to review the production process. So whether your business provides a good, a service, or both, you need to understand that it's necessary to produce that end product, right? So even if you have a raw product or you're delivering really a service, right? And so at the end user is getting that website or getting that package and now being cued to do what they need to do. But if you don't understand that production process, that's like the first thing, how am I going to actually produce this end product? So that's very, very important. The second thing I would say is to review the production standards, which is consider the type of production involved in your service. Is it one person? Does it rely on one person? Do you rely on two people? Or is the product, how are you going to get the product from this phase to the next phase, right? How are you going to actually lift that product or service up into the production phase? And then the third phase would be the fulfillment process. So what is your process to make sure that you get this quality product or service to your end user in a timely fashion, right? So how are you going to fulfill that, like your orders, right? As Neke, I'm gonna get it right, I swear. Neke alluded to earlier, she started off for free and then more people started coming. So then in her mind, she has to think, how am I gonna fulfill this demand, right? Because now the demand is there, so how is she gonna actually supply that? And so the fourth thing would be, which is very, very important, I tell a lot of my mentees, inventory management, right? This process allows inventory to exist, and then really gives you the tools and the equipment to provide what you need when you need it without enormous stress to your capital, right? So inventory exists to improve the level of service provided by the business. And then the fifth thing would be billing and collections. Billing is a process of invoicing and customer goods and services. That's probably better, yeah. Customer goods and services and collecting overdue payments. Now, if you are afraid of asking for money, you don't need to be in this room right now, because you need to be able to have your value proposition and be able to receive revenue from your service or your product, okay? And then as we've seen, you can start from $10 and all the way up to $1,000, but it's because she knows that her value proposition is worth that, right? You did your research and seen what else was out there. And so it's very important
to be effective, to make sure that you are invoicing and that you're collecting. There's a thing called net 30, net 60 that you're going to hear a lot about. And what that means is that whoever owes you has 30 days to pay you or 60 days to pay you before you start adding on fees and things of that nature. Okay. So
talk a little bit about how the net 30 and also how sometimes if an individual pays early, they get a kickback rebate of maybe 5-7%.
yes.
If they pay promptly, either before time or on time, there's like 5%. So talk a little bit about that, incentivizing any client or customer to say, hey, if you pay early, you know, you get 5% off, 7%
Yeah.
off your bill.
Yes, good point. As we know, it's a psychology, right? And so we want to make sure we're closing the deal or selling the product. At the end of the day, that's what we want to make sure that we're doing. And so to incentivize your customer or your end user, yes, you're going to have your terms and conditions, which are going to be mainly in writing of the 30, but that incentive, if they pay at 15 days, so there's something called a net 15 that allows you to get a discount or, like Hakim said, a rebate, or maybe, you know, a kickback if you refer, something of that nature. But it is something to kind of incentivize the customer that, you know, if you pay early, you're gonna get a discount. And most of them like that. But again, I wanna emphasize that your billing and collection process has to be efficient.
Do you have any suggestions for streamlining or systems that you can put in place? Like working with higher ed institutions for me has been a thorn in my side. And like I could charge them 10 racks, but the amount of time it takes for them to pay me out is generally where it gets hairy for me. And I'm trying to figure out as we speak how to handle that. Outside of requiring a deposit, you still will get some pushback from certain spaces. Real life story, somebody told me last week they held the invoice because they thought there was an extra zero on it. And we had to have a conversation about ethics and so forth and how you approach small businesses because it gets extremely hairy.
Yeah.
Accounts payable in certain industries.
Yes, that's a good point. I would say, are you dealing directly with their finance department?
I'm learning to.
Okay. So you want to talk to the people who write the checks.
Okay.
You always want to make those connections and those relationships to either whoever the CFO is, whoever the accountant is, of that vendor that you're going to start doing that relationship with.
So that's like the first touch point outside of whoever's pro.
Yes, exactly. If it is, let's just say it's, I don't know, the director of events, right? And that's your connection in that actual company. You want to then ask for the finance people. You always want to ask for who's holding the purse, always, because they need to be in the room and they need to know what your terms are, what your obligation is, what, you know, the service or whatever that you're going to provide for them, the service or product, but they need to know so that you're aware, because when you have too many middle people who are interpreting or communicating and they don't really have, they may have influence, but they don't have authority to sign anything, it's kind of like a waste of your time. And it will get you frustrated.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
I do. I've given them contracts, I've done MOUs. Like this, I think this is what I need to hear today.
You need the finance person.
Cut out just trusting the coordinator or whatever.
Yes, that's where it lies. So I'm glad, yeah.
Cut out the middleman and get to the person.
Right to
that
the
cuts
purse,
checks.
right. And
Yeah,
so
get to the
I
purse.
work in healthcare. I actually work in a hospital, and as we continue to, I'm always like, is finance at the table? Because it doesn't make sense for us to be repetitive in this meeting if they're not at the table. So make sure someone from finance department is there.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
So something that's been coming up is like business or in this case, airlines, is that some folks feel like for small businesses that are really dependent
on getting paid, like we should be paid at the day of service, instead of waiting that net 30. What is your thoughts on that? Especially for creative folks.
Yes, push it, right? And so the thing about business and the thing about time is that it's always changing, right? And so just because another small business or somebody did it like that and they, were okay with getting paid on 30 days. But now if that's a narrative and that's something that, you see people doing, then I would push that. As long as you can be able to articulate your value proposition and make that customer feel that you are going to get that service as if they paid you 30 days later, then yeah, go for it. I mean, why not have a mix, right? You getting paid the first day and you're getting paid on day.
I just feel like for me, I can't put myself in that situation to not get paid when I provide services, right, as an artist. So to cover myself, I do the deposit, I do the contract. We have those conversations about what is expected of me as a service provider and of my client, right? Like, look, real story, right? I do photography. This one person I've known most of my life hired me for an event. Lo and behold, the event was a wedding. Events versus weddings are very different, right? And pricing, everything, and how I dress, right? So she told me it was like a party. I dressed with like this stretch jeans and my logo shirt. And I got that. I was super embarrassed, right? Because I'm not presentable. I'm not presenting my brand the way that I want to at a wedding, right? She said it was a party. She walks in the wedding dress. I'm like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I was so angry with her. I would never work with her again. I provided her the service I said I would provide, right? I was so professional. But if she ever called me again, I'd be like, ooh, I'm gonna refer you somewhere else. And then that person I refer them to, bam. Watch out because, ask the questions. So for me, it was about, hey, I trust this person too much because of a surface level relationship, right? And because of that trust, I lost out on thousands of dollars. Right? She had the contract, she deposit. When I tell you, she slipped through in the wedding, I was like, ow! You played me 3 songs from Sunday. That's crazy. So definitely make sure I need my money, my Skrilla, and I need the details, right? So I'll have multiple conversations via email or in person, whatever they prefer. But we're gonna make sure we know exactly what we're expecting and exactly what I'm providing.
Do you mind if we save questions to the end? Also, it's a good measure to write things down. It helps you retain and it also helps you manifest. So if you can write it down, then that means it will let you know if the question's even valuable enough if she hasn't gone through the discussion. So for everybody's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So in summary, a business, no matter how simple or complicated, has interrelated functions. So as we know, it's just think of it as always churning. Just think of that hamster on the wheel. It's always moving. Business operations, it's the main thing about business operations is the stability of your business. How stable is it, right? And even though you may not have a separate department or separate employees of each of these operational areas, the function still exists and they're constantly interacting with one another, and sometimes ways that are not immediately obvious. And so there should be an established benchmark to assess all these activities and all of the business measures and operations on a regular basis. So it's really like keeping your finger on the pulse, so that you know what's going on as an owner. All right, so I know that was a good one, good catch. So what we talked about really is like managing the business, right? How do you manage it? How do you keep your finger on the pulse? But you're not gonna know everything. You're not gonna know, you probably just know about your business, right? About what it is that you're passionate about. But when considering professional business assistants, you have to identify key operational functions that you will need for your business, like a website, like a logo, right? Like the package, like someone, a host, right? Some people think, oh, I'm just gonna get a website. Who's gonna host you, right? Who's gonna watch your traffic and your insights, those kind of things. So it's important to identify those key operational functions. And do you need help with accounting and bookkeeping? Yes, you do. Don't let anyone tell you you don't. I don't care how good you are at math, you need an accountant and bookkeeping. Even if you get QuickBooks, right? It's a computer system that can do that for you, but you need that system because that is really that's gonna be the impetus of how your business sustains itself. And so the decision may be to contract with a company rather than an individual. Either way, treat these contractual agreements just as you would as hiring employees. You're gonna interview candidates, you're gonna ask questions, you're gonna discuss fees and that. You're gonna discuss your services. You're gonna consider giving them small assignments so you can see like what's their work about, right? And then before you engage in this long-term commitment and this long-term relationship, because even though you may think that this is a customer, something that they call in business is customer lifetime value, right? And to have someone walk in your door for 30 years, 20 years, even in a legacy business, right? There's people who right now go to certain businesses because their grandfather or their grandmother went to that business or their mother went to that business. That's what you call a legacy business, but that's a lifetime customer. So you want to make sure that before you dive into that, where you are going to have this bi-directional of you giving a product or a service and then actually paying for that service, make sure that you interview them, right? Just as well as they're interviewing you, you interview them as well. When identifying the right combination of service, don't let price be the only factor in your decision, right? You may get to someone who you really like, someone gave you a referral or you seen their work on Instagram or you went to some of their events, right? Or you've seen their product, you wore it, something of that nature. And it has a high price. Don't let that deter you, right? Because high prices are not always a guarantee of better service. Some people overprice just because they do. And then lower prices do not always mean that it's a lower service either, right? Some people are exploring, they're experimenting. Doesn't mean that it's not quality and it's not good. It's just that they haven't really went through that mechanism of price pointing to know that their logo and their package is going to be $1,000. But as she stated, it didn't start like that. So those two things are not indicative of value. And experience and expertise is usually a very good winning combination. Someone who has a little experience, they have that expertise. That's usually a great combination for if you're going to need some professional business assistance. A rule of thumb in business world is 3 quotes, right? Everything you do in life is 3 quotes. You hear some people say, I'm gonna go for a second opinion, do that. And you're not doing it to, you can, but you're not doing it to kind of, point one under the other, but it allows you to see the variation in the industry that you're actually needing that business assistant from. So if you need an attorney, get 3 quotes. You need a bookkeeper, get 3 quotes. Just because you want to be able to have that, like, oh, okay, this one's charging this one's charging that, or they're all the same, right? But again, it's going to give you information, which is going to be really valuable in helping you navigate your business. And so the last thing, but the most important, that I want to talk about is how your business is on paper, right? And so we all have these visions and, we're working hard, but if it doesn't translate to really the paper, it's not going to help you propel to get you to sustain or scale your business, right? So it's one thing to start it, and it usually takes about 0 months to 36 months to really level set your business. So 3 years is like the point, right? You're gonna have to put in that work, put in that sweat equity for at least 3 years before you start to see it level. But in that, while you're seeing that, it's important for you to understand that if you can't prove on paper, you're not going to be able to scale. And scaling is very important because scaling allows you to go into the different phases of business, right? And at the end, some big businesses, they're exiting, right? So they built this business up, they got it to an operating budget and a revenue of, let's just say, for simplicity, $1 million, right? And then they exit. And then the next buyer takes this business and now grows it to $2.7 million, right? This is what happens in business all the time. And so it's important for you to know what your profit and loss is, right? What's your income statement? Your income statement tracks your income over time, and it calculates your net income. It tells you if your business is profitable or not, right? Because some of us are in business, but I'm going to tell you, if your business doesn't make money, it's a hobby, right? It's not, you don't have money coming in where you can now have a income statement. It's a hobby. You can start off for free, but freemiums don't last for long, right? You can give them that freemium price for about 30 days, 45, and then you have to put a price on it. You know why? People don't value, as we see, low cost, right? They're gonna think, oh, she's giving it for free, oh, it's not. And then there's studies, there's data. It shows that when you give free events, free anything, people are like, oh, I don't know. But if you put a price on it, people are more inclined. So always know that as well. And again, the income statement is going to really be able to tell the profitability of your business. The balance sheet is very important because it represents a picture of your financial condition of your business as of any given date. So I can look on my balance sheet and see January, what was the condition of my business? Was I in debt? Was I up? Was I negative? Was I not? And then I can also look in November of that, following 11 months. And it's gonna tell you how much your business is really worth, right? That's gonna give you that financial condition of your business. What is important for everyone in this room, because we're all just starting, and I include myself because my business is 2018, then you take COVID year. So I'm level setting now, getting my business credit, getting my, being able to go into the bank and say, I want this. But that takes time. And so cash flow is important. This is the most important thing. If you don't get anything from this presentation, you have to get cash flow. Because if not, your business will just dissolve. You can't sustain it. And I mean, we've all seen with, restaurants or places in Boston after COVID, they just couldn't sustain it, right? And it's because of cash flow. You don't have enough to pay your bills. You don't have, we can all take, okay, we didn't have no profit today, right? We could take a margin and break even. But when you can't even break even, that's a problem. So most beginning businesses have a crucial need to know on a daily basis how much cash they have at hand and for the immediate future. And so these 3 things are very important when it comes to your accounting system. And this will allow you to get the basis. So these 3 things are very important: income statements, your balance sheets, and your cash flow. And then once you're able to sustain that, That's gonna help you build your business credit, right? That's gonna help you go and ask for money, OPM, which is other people's money. You're gonna go ask for OPM because now you can prove that you actually had cash flow. Like, no, I can prove that I sold, right, 200 units of this and collected $2,000. And that's what the bank wants to see. They wanna see if you have cash flow, because why would I give you $50,000 on an idea? You didn't do anything. And so you have to, this is why cash flow proves that you're actually, it's coming in. You have an actual statement that you can invoice. You're showing invoices, right? And so the money is very important. The money is very detriment. And there's a lot of opportunity now in space for us, for people of color, for minority businesses, for women businesses, right? The SBA is doing a host of opportunities to open doors that weren't open to us before, right? And so it's important that we check the box as well. If they say this is what they're requiring, an income statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement, then get that, right? Get that in order, because that's very important.
We talk a little bit about wrapping up cost of goods sold. Like talk a little bit about like the part where you have to think through how much does it cost you to sell something to your customer?
Yes. So there's a lot of, and this is a good point, because I'm not a finance person, right? But I'm an operations person. So I lead a lot. I delegate. I don't say tell. Yeah, I don't say that. I delegate. That's the perfect word. Right. So in that, you hear, I'm going to charge. I'm going to use t-shirts because it's the easiest thing, right? I'm going to sell this t-shirt, right? And I'm going to charge $20 for this t-shirt. And I'm like, how did you come up with that price? Where did you get that from? Did you just pick that out? Like, first of all, how much is it taking you? How much does it cost you to get that one t-shirt manufactured? Okay, $350, right? I'm just throwing out numbers. And then how much does it take you to get the actual logo or whatever you need printed on the t-shirt? Another $250. Okay, and then shipping, right? Nobody thinks about taxes, right? And so that's not even encompassed in there. And then you're like, no, I've calculated these three things. So $350, $250, $1. Let's just say it's costing me $7 to make a t-shirt that costs $15. No, it's costing you $24 or $23, right? And so you have to make sure that you're encompassing all of that. What goes into making this product, right? What goes into this t-shirt? And some of the time, a lot of businesses, we don't price that. It's our sweat equity going into it, right? It's our design time, it's that. So that t-shirt should cost $35 and not $15. And why should it cost $35? Because now you have broken down all of the elements that it took to produce this one unit, right? And so then you have, let's just say, if your price was $15, what happens when you need to make a sale? Now you're not even going to hit your threshold, because now you done underscored yourself. You did not factor in pen to paper. Pen to paper is essential, because the thought, if it's up here, it'll live up there. It needs to be on paper. And so when it's on paper, you can actually see, it actually, to get that person that shirt, they don't live in Boston, they live in Atlanta. So I need to now put an additional, because they live in Atlanta, it's costing me more to ship it to them. You have to factor all that into your cost of goods sold, or not, you won't be able to sustain your business, because you're gonna have to have a sale. Sometimes you're stuck with inventory, sometimes things aren't moving, you have to galvanize people, you have to 20% off, 15% off. So you already now are not at that $15 t-shirt. Now you're at 10 or 2 for 10? Or what happens when somebody comes and say, I want to buy 100, I want to buy 50, right? And then of course they're going to come and say, I'm not paying $15 for each shirt. They're going to try to hustle you too. And so you have to be prepared for that, right? So each unit that you're making, okay, I'm calculating $15 for each shirt, but now when I get down to the last 50, those might go for $7. You have to be able to calculate all that. So pen to paper is very important. Yeah.
No, but it's relevant for this because you just talked about a hard product, but for service, how would you go about charging for a service?
How would I go about charging for a service? You mean in?
Like you just touched on like an actual t-shirt. So
Okay.
use that same example.
Oh yes, because my business is a service. So I would go about. You mean how do you find your actual price point? So I would really do what. One more time. Not K. I'm gonna get it. Not K. Yeah. K. I'm gonna call you K for sure. I love nicknames. Dana knows that. What you want to do is see who else is doing what you're doing, right? And so competitors are very important. It's not for you to, it's for you to see what they're doing. Why are you reinventing the wheel? I mean, you're gonna make it a little, whatever, but we're really not reinventing anything, right? We're just like, whatever your industry is, there's probably 100 people in that industry. So you want to see in that spectrum, what is more, how can I say, what more aligns with your business model, right? And so if that's the upper echelon of your actual industry, then you want to make sure that you're gravitating to those. If you want to have like a mid-range, right? Because let's face it, there's a business model for Dollar Tree. There's a business model for Dollar Tree. They know who their end user is. They know who their target market is. And then Saks is a whole nother, target market. So it's the same. You're gonna have your high price luxury, you're gonna have your mid-level, and you're gonna have your low. So for you to find your price point, you need to then do that research on those particular, in that industry. Who's charging, let's just say, who's charging $2,000 in your industry, and then who's charging $750? See what they're offering, see what their packages are, and then go back to your drawing board, your whiteboard, and then say, what can I add that spices it up, that makes it different, that, gives it a different value that they're not doing? And that's when you're gonna land at your price point. And it's gonna change because inflation changes. Right? Yesterday's price, girl, say it again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And Yolanda, I thank you both, speaker and also alumni in session. I want to give a big round to Yolanda. And you have time right now for a quick 3 questions. They have to be short because we do have to get to some real work where we actually have to dive deeper into SWOT analysis, and we're going to talk a little bit about competitiveness. So, 3 questions. And
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I see something about you that I'm like admiring, but I'm not really making a connection because I want to do what you're doing, but similarly, I do therapeutic style of work, and I'm trying to. What I'm seeing is that there's a split between services and goods, whereas I'm not really into selling goods. I do sell services more than anything, and yet I do want to try to do goods and whatever. How do you, as someone who does intentional therapeutic work, bridge that intentional work and energy and like the product of your work how do you allow it to become monotonized without it kind of taking away from the morality of the service or the goods in your work? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't want to make money doing what I want to do. I wish that was like not a priority, but it's clear to me that I have to if I don't want to work for a company or if I don't want to do it. So I've been in this complex of how should I take my business model, and I'm just curious about you and what were like maybe one key points that made you say, you know what, my intentional work is gonna have to become business. What made that for you? I guess I don't know if that makes sense.
No, great question, and thank you for sharing. So I would say first, just to bring it back to you, that you say you do therapeutic work. So I would start asking yourself, what is it that your clients or the end user could use, right? Think outside of the boxes, what if they can use, right? Or maybe start to interview your small base of clients and see what they like, right? Just start asking questions. So I'm gonna give you an example of my mentee. One of my mentees, she is a masseuse, right? And she does massage for women who have just had surgery, and particularly, right? Hot market right now. And so she started getting a lot of clients coming in, but it was post, right? And so when I mentored her, I said, how can you get in front of it, right? So now she's doing education, but she also bought in a product. So she had a service, but now she's selling fajas. So these are the compressors now that she's selling after she gives the massage. And this is after we went over her business and just what's your business proposition? How are you going to sustain? Because you can't massage, 50 women or 50 men and women a month or a week, right? So how are you going to sustain this? So we have to bring in something that's going to help propel your revenue. And it was fajas. It makes sense, right? Because they're getting a massage, but then they're leaving her office and going to buy the faja on Amazon. Why? When she can customize it. And so this is what we were able to do as far as she had a service, because she just started off doing massage. And then she started to see this influx in that particular population. And then so she was able to say, I was able to encourage her and say, no, you're going to get a faja in here. And then we did the whole price point and the packaging. So that's just one example how you can kind of intertwine a service into a product. See what they want. They want something. There's something that they could use after you provide that therapy. Yes. No, don't snap, please.
So my company is not, it's different, it's as a thrift clothing. So my idea is to do a thrift truck.
A food truck?
A thrift.
A thrift truck. Ooh,
Yeah,
girl, I'm there too. Tell me where you come in.
And I wanna also like take it on tour type thing. So I wanna do like the West, the East Coast, and the middle. But when you were talking about pricing your items and things like that, for me it's a little different because I have to thrift in order for me to get my product on the truck. So then what should I calculate into pricing? Because not only do I have to spend money on the actual thrifting, and that's like an unknown variable, because it's kind of like a fine thing.
Yeah.
And then also like getting into play like the constant like cleaning of the truck, and then the gas and the mileage and like all of those things. Like what are things that are like core things that I should be thinking about in terms of like what the money coming in is gonna pay for what comes out, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you want to frame it under fixed and variable costs and sunken costs, right? So you want to talk a little bit about what is a variable cost that might go up or down monthly,
right? And
then what is a fixed cost that's going to be in there constantly, and then you want to talk about sunken costs based off of this. You already spent this money, it ain't coming back.
Right.
So
right.
It's trying to frame it.
Perfect, thank you. Right. And so I'll keep it right on those frames, so I'll answer it just like that. Right. So the fixed cost is gonna be like your insurance, right, for the truck. What else is gonna be? Your gas, right, because you're gonna calculate that. You're gonna need gas to actually get you to where you're gonna get to. And then your variable costs will be like, I mean, you're gonna go to different states, you said?
Yeah, so I want to go to different states and I want to go cities and states. So the point is to take fashion that I have like selected and curated and bring it to different places.
Different places.
So that people can get exposed to different kinds of fashions that come in places. So people from the West Coast can buy things from the East Coast and like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I would say the variable cost for that would be, your prices may shift in different areas. Like you may not be able to charge what you're charging in New York, right, for folks in Mississippi. Like that may be something that's variable. And like the enhancements on your truck, right? Like you want some spinners on it now so that you can get all the excitement when you park somewhere. So you standing out from different trucks. That would be like your sunken costs, right?
Right, so the key thing I want y'all to understand in this takeaway is that when you're thinking about cost structure, you always want to say, I'm gonna have a sunken cost. That means I'm gonna spend this money to get to wherever I need to go. That's gonna always be a 30-day sunken cost. A variable cost is gonna be a cost that varies based off of quantity, amount, and also place or time, right? You're not gonna be able to spend the same. So for instance, in this situation, you may think about toll costs, right? A toll in Massachusetts is different than a toll in New Jersey or New York. So that's gonna be a cost variable based off of leaving Massachusetts with your truck, traveling all the way to California. You're gonna have a variable cost of your toll road, right? Then you wanna think about your fixed costs. You have a fixed cost of gas, right? Insurance, right? Water, clothing. You're always gonna have to categorize things under the sunken cost, a variable cost, or a fixed cost. That way, once you understand your cost structure, you're able to better price yourself to the public because you know how much you charge already that has a sunken, variable, and fixed cost. That way you compound that. And my rule is a rule of 45, right? Whatever that number is, 45 on top of that, right? 45%, because you want to make sure you include the profit margin, because you want to be able to make money to plow back into your company. The thing that I see a lot of is we have a lot of altruistic individuals who want to be broke business individuals. If you want to be broken in business, you're probably not in the right space, because broken in business means that you're going to suffer while struggling to make a difference and impact. That way, I always say, rule of thumb, price it out and add 45% so you have a profit margin.
That's a good point. Good nugget.
Thank you.
I just want everybody to like, honestly, I've seen it for the past 5 years. We have a lot of businesses. Oh, I just want to do it for the community. Great. Well, how are you keeping your lights on? How are you paying your bills? How are you paying your mortgage or your rent? How are you taking care of either your kids or whatever amenities that you have to take care of? And if you don't have a profit on top of whatever service you provide, guess what? You're working for free. So you might as well go to a regular job, get a paycheck, and become an employee. Because the purpose of business is to make sure at some point you're making more and you're doing less, right? And if you're not trying to do that, what happens is you become the poverty business owner, right? Where you damn near do it for free just for the sake of doing it. And nobody wants to be a poverty business owner. I don't understand it, but I respect it.
You told us at the same time. So you said price to item, then add 45%. So what do you mean, the supply?
Whatever number you come up with, add 45 on top of it. So say for instance, you say, oh man, I got this fly hoodie. It's $100. No, it's $145. But you gotta sell it, and then you gotta make a profit off of it and apply that profit back to your company, right? So we do this thing of the break even, right? We have this thing where we don't really take into consideration what a break even analysis is or break even ratio. You might have to sell X amount of something to get to zero. So what we want to make sure you do is once you get to zero, everything after that is a profit on top of that zero number. So for instance, if you created something, you want to be mindful of one, the creation, so you want to protect intellectual property. So then you want to say, okay, once I created it, who am I selling it to? And am I selling it at a price where I'm actually, like she said earlier, Yolanda said, how do I scale? You can't scale without cash flow, right? Now you can scale in your head, but that's not really scale, right? You need to have money to buy things to expand. And if you do not have money to buy things to expand, what you have is you have a very systematic way of staying poor forever, right? But it's a long-term problem. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be in business for 7 years and never make any money, right? It's like, are you sure about business? You might just want to go to church, you know?
And eventually you'll fold. Eventually you'll fold.
So we can give it up for Yolanda, and we appreciate you so much for coming out. And you can stay and eat. There is food, there is water, juice, and everything else. And please, everyone, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes so that you can network with her, get her number, her information, connect. I don't know if you need that. You need 7 minutes, whatever. Okay, so 5 minutes. Pull out your cell phone. I'm like 10 minutes.
And I'm on LinkedIn, so.
And she's on LinkedIn also.
Yeah. LinkedIn. That's where all the business happens. Yes. Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah.
It's literally good stuff. You actually use it, right?
Oh my God, I got one.
Love it. For your industry specific. Follow me on LinkedIn. Whatever it is, make that connection. It's all about networking too. Network. Meet any and everybody, please. Oh, you took your mask off of me, girl. I love it. I'm an artist. I love it.
Right, perfect. It is also on the front, all the side. I think they might be exercising. If they're not exercising, but yeah.
Okay, I will definitely be in contact.
And I like that, like, you know, like the I'm not, but yes, one is my like creative life, the work life. So my creative life is I just do a lot of like, you know, that I just enjoy. Yeah, I think that's a lot. So thank you so much. What I do now is I work with a lot of companies that have and that's it's but there's sometimes like that's like what there are.
And when you talk about Black women in the wellness world, I think sometimes they like get weirded out by you being like, no, this is how much I cost, or this is what the value of my work is. That's a big part of that. Yeah, I didn't do that. Okay.
No.
Yeah, definitely reach out
That like
to me a message. Yes,
Your mom does go around.
but they're the same owners of yeah. So the same owners of like they're making and kind of like getting middle class.
Is it double R? Yeah.
Mine is more like
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you as well.
I don't.
It's more
I don't.
like
You have LinkedIn?
like fashion versus
No, I can give you my email if that works. Yeah, it's gonna be And your name? Really? I love it. And I love this show. What's your business? Whoa. I love it. And is it good? My love is traditional? Good. All right. Email me and talk about it. All right. Pleasure to meet you. All right. And good luck with your business. Hi, Karina. I see you here with your yes. I see her here. Yes, you got my yes, I was just on some practice sport. Yes, so I know. It's been hectic last week. I was in your piece, like so much going on. Yeah, I'm like, I was like, yes, I'm a fashion designer, but I want during COVID, I kind of learned to do t-shirts and things like that. Right now, that becomes my main source of income. T-shirts, yeah. So there's more, yeah, easy to go, and there's easy money. So then you know, it's like you're doing them yourself. Yes. For you guys, for you. So you know, this year. Yeah, so I'm like, but I still need to kind of have my business established. I also want to be able to, like, how I can keep working with the team. So I do more work, and I end up when people say, every time I write something, I'm like, I add, you know, something about you actually oh my gosh, she's like on fire right now. Yes. And the reason why I tell her I was about her so we actually went to high school together. So we go way back. We go friends. She's having an event at the W. I was going to an event, but then something happened. I put myself up. But yeah, so it's gonna be the next one. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, for now, playing basketball. Yeah. L, yep, 2 L. Okay. You are speaker? Yeah. Launchpad reality. That way you know it's your people. I always do that. I have my notebook. Yeah, that's the way you do it, right? I have all my contacts with them. You too. Oh, good. I was like, come today. She was like, you know when you were sitting down, I was like, oh, so cool. I love it. She's like, yeah. So you can't get more people. I must have. she just dragged me on like.
I
And
did.
I was like, yeah, because I kept looking at him like, I like that. I was like,
I know, I was like, it's so nice.
But I'm a research nurse. And I very much appreciate she just like all of you friends kind of just seeing me. I need to go down. I'm gonna go back to about it. I talked to her. She's like, I did you clear. Like one thing I was excited about. I haven't started anything at all. But just kind of talking to her.
So we're gonna talk about SWOT analysis. Anybody can hear my voice, please clap one time. Anybody can hear my voice, please clap 2 times. Anybody can hear my voice, please clap 17 times. Right. So what we're gonna discuss now, and Nike and y'all welcome to stay, but if you have to take off, I understand.
I did want to say Justin.
Yeah, I think
And I love his swag. And I was just like,
Paul.
Okay.
Back.
Let me get a dad hug. Yeah.
let's get a family hug because I'm gonna leave too.
I'm only 46. I ain't nobody's dad. Okay. I have a 5-year-old. I do have a 5-year-old. So you're saying okay.
I have to go.
Also, everyone.
I'll be back.
Yeah, everyone, make sure.
Because I got some business to throw your way. Even though you may have already. A lot of stuff is coming through the Fairmount, and I'm like, graphic
We love
design.
that. We love that.
Out there.
Thank you
I
guys
will
for
be back as
having
well.
me.
Thank you guys.
I know where to come. Definitely. I'll be there. You as well. I hope to hear, but when is the,
So we have September 8th is the pitch night, but you are welcome to come back. And now that everyone has reached out to her, she has said that she may want to be a mentor or not. So,
yeah, nice. Reach out. I'm always, but I will be back for pitch night because I want to see what you guys get.
come out with. They're gonna come up with something.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So what we're going to talk about now is your SWOT analysis. Has anyone worked on or has anyone heard of or dealt with a SWOT analysis? Okay, so I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask about the strengths and weaknesses that you know currently that may be in your business. So one of the things that with a SWOT analysis is the first stage of planning and helping marketers focus on key issues is your strengths and weaknesses. These are what we call internal factors. This is the psychology and also the personality of the individual running the business, right? The opportunities and threats are external factors. Those are market forces, market trends, those are societal, financial, so on and so forth, right? You want to be able to be clear about 2 things, your internal versus the external, because they're constantly changing. So what we want to make sure you're clear on is your strengths, right? A strength is an internal, right? What is the strength of you as the business owner, but also what is the strength of your business relevant to the market, right? A strength could be your specialist marketing expertise, a new innovative good or service, the location of your business, quality processes and procedures, or any other aspect of your business that adds value to your goods or services. You need to understand your strengths, right? I want to take a moment and I want everyone to tell me one strength that they bring to their business. And I'm gonna start with, I think.
So I work in a business that's a nonprofit that happens to do
One strength.
One
You
strength.
just need one strength. That's it. One strength
My
you bring to your
ability to
business.
work with computers.
All right, great. Fine. Sahara, one strength.
You put one strength?
One strength.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
You know,
Come back to me in a second.
we just talked. We just. You bring you to your business.
Oh, okay. Cultural relativity tonight.
Awesome. Strength. Creativity. Awesome. Strength. A strength?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
And Dana?
Strength, I believe, is, for me, my perspective, right? There's so many photographers, so I think I bring
Creativity. Awesome. So another internal thing that you have to think about is when you think about your strengths, you also have to think about your weaknesses, right? A weakness is internal. It means that it's something about you, psychology, psyche, personality, so on and so forth, in relation to your business that may be a weakness, right? Like you may not be good at closing a deal. You might not be good at sales. You might not be good at public speaking. You may not be good at X, Y, Z. The key thing about identifying your weaknesses is you can turn them into strengths. But if you do not identify your weaknesses and you think that all of what you got is the best thing since sliced bread, you're going to shortchange yourself in the market, right? Because you want to be able to identify your strengths, identify your weaknesses, understand and analyze your weaknesses, and then transform those weaknesses because they can actually turn into strengths, right? Because you might tell a person and get up in front of them and say, hey, it's my first TED Talk, I'm shy. Now the whole crowd calms down. Why? Because you've identified and you spoke out loud your weakness. Hey, I'm shy. I'm not good at public speaking. This is my first try. What does that do? That warms the crowd up to your weakness. But if you look at your weakness and hide it, sometimes what happens is you're hiding your weaknesses away from the customer is sometimes not softening the customer up to whatever you're trying to sell. So you have to understand it and identify your strengths, but you also have to be able to identify your weaknesses and turn your strengths and weaknesses face forward depending on the situation, right? Myers, we talked about strengths. Tell me one thing about the strength of your personality. And then, yep. And then we're gonna go to weaknesses.
Okay. My strength is that I think I'm really good at like connecting with people or connecting people to others.
Mm-hmm.
And my weakness has always been my organization.
Okay. Okay. Great. So weakness internal. A weakness could be lack of marketing experience, undifferentiated goods and services, i.e. in relation to your competitors, location of your business, poor quality goods or services, or damaged reputation. Has anyone in here experienced bad customer service in the past month? Raise your hand. How did that customer service make you feel?
In the moment, like I wasn't
Frustrated and annoyed.
That was Sapphire, right? That was you? Okay, awesome. I love it. How did that customer service make you feel?
Frustrated.
Frustrated? Dottie, how did that customer service make you feel?
I think differently, so.
No, just a quick sentence to start, you know?
Also,
Okay. Okay. Very important, very important. So one thing about, so we're going to talk also about opportunities, right? The opportunities are external, right? You want to understand the market and the environment that you're selling under, right? So opportunities are external because some individuals, now the first course in entrepreneurship that I took when I was in business school was a course called Opportunity Recognition and Discovery, right? One thing we don't do well is we don't recognize opportunities and we don't drill down deep on it. We don't make the phone call. We don't follow up. We don't check that person's IG and message them. We don't do this. We have a lot of don't do's in our culture of business where we're like, oh, I'm too cool for that. I'm too proud of that. I'm too, but I'm like, yo, you are the coolest, poorest person I ever know, right? Why, right? Like, why are you so cool and poor, right? Like, they're like, yeah, I got, as long as I got this polo, I'm good, right? But we have a thing about being cool and poor, right? Honestly, I don't know what it is. I think this is just the psychology of the oppressed, right? So opportunities, external. The opportunity could be a developing market such as the internet, mergers, joint ventures, or strategic alliances, moving into new market segments that are offered improved profits, a new international market, or a market vacated by an ineffective competitor. Now, who in here has Netflix? Who in here has Hulu? Who in here has Peacock? Who in here has HBO Max? What did they do? They broke the internet up and cable, and they sold it back to you a la carte, one at a time. Now you pay the same price or more for what? They give you Netflix, they give you Hulu, they give you Disney Plus, they give you Peacock. You're like, bruh, why don't I just keep my cable?
Unless it's smart,
No
you
problem.
combine with somebody.
Unless you just use someone else's password, right? That's the hack, right? Everyone uses, yo, what's your password, family? What's your password? Like, give me a password. So I want y'all to understand that in the market, you're gonna have to deal with your internal, which is the you, right? You have to understand the psychology of you. If you're an awkward person, guess what? Get someone else to sell for you, right? If you're a brainy individual who's introverted, get someone to speak and publicly speak for you. It's okay. I know a lot of brainy introverts who don't do well in public, but it's all right. Guess what? They know how to do internet stuff that I could never do. I'm like, bro, stay in there. Do that data analytics and do that linear regression. Do all that sexy stuff for online that I don't know how to do. I'll go pitch for you, Clem. Like I don't know how to do that, right? So believe me, if extroverted or introverted, behaviorally or psychology, you want to understand where your strengths are, but also you want to understand where your strengths are limited, right? You want to know your shortcomings. If you don't know your shortcomings, you're not going to know what kind of tribe you need to hire to complement you. One key thing that we have to be clear of is where we come short at and who else is available that we can bring into our tribe to complement us. We want to be able to have a complementary team. And I want to say at minimum 3, you probably don't want no bigger team than 5 to 7, right? Some people have teams of, I'm like, I don't know how the hell you delegate with all those personalities. But minimum 3, someone in sales, someone in marketing, someone who can publicly speak, someone who's a closer, right? You need someone that can close. If you know you're not a closer and you can't go in and make a deal happen, go get that person that can do that, right? Don't always have to be, you can delegate that to somebody else. Can someone close that door? I think I have a little echo in there. So threats. Threat is a threat internal, right? A threat could be a new competitor in your home market, price wars with competitors. A competitor has a new innovative product or service. Competitors have superior access to channels of distribution, or that can get shut down. I'm in class, I'll play back. So a threat could be a new competitor in your home market, price wars with competitors. A competitor has a new innovative product or service. Competitors have superior access to channels of distribution, or taxation is introduced onto your goods or service. That's a threat. But let me tell you about competitors, right? Find somebody that you love what they do and you're trying to replicate some of what they do as a derivative, and just follow and figure it out. Like there are people out there that will make your journey so much easier if you just become a fan and just say, hey, I like what this person is doing and I want to do a derivative of what they're doing in my own way. It's okay. Doritos, and Lay's, they still on the same shelf, right? And who likes Doritos? No one likes Doritos. Who likes Lay's? Who likes Funyuns? Who likes Chef Hunt chips? Okay, geez. Okay.
I love Doritos.
There it is. Someone likes Doritos. It's a tough crowd here. Lord have mercy. All right. I want to say this. A SWOT analysis is subjective. Do not rely on SWOT as the only tool. Two people are rarely come up with the same final version of SWOT. Rules for successful SWOT analysis, and this is something that's a rule of thumb. Be realistic about the strengths and weaknesses of your organization when conducting SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis should distinguish between where your organization is today and where it could be in the future. You always want to, and I am a person who always looks at the kind of work that I do in quarters, right? I give myself 90 days on anything. I don't try to say, oh, if I don't get this done in 7 days, I'm a loser. Bruh, that's a short window, right? Give yourself 90. I say rule of thumb, give yourself 90 days on anything you're doing, right? It's not going to unfold in 30. You might just get out the garage and just get down the street in 30. You might just be bending the corner and hitting the highway at 60, and you might just be seeing some success at day 75. Give yourself a rule of thumb, 90 days for most things to unfold and unravel, right? SWOT analysis is distinguish between where your organization is today and where it could be in the future. SWOT should always be specific. Avoid gray areas. One thing I want to talk about when it comes to gray areas is be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with where you want to go, what you want to do, how much money you want to make, and what team you want to gather around you to get there, right? If you don't do that, what happens is it becomes very subjective. And you're just like, oh, maybe not, I might do it, I might not do it, right? That's not a concrete game plan, right? You want to be clear and subjective. You want to be clear and concise about what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to go. Keep your SWOT short and simple. Avoid complexity and over-analysis. Sometimes we don't start businesses because we have already won. How many people in here have one in their mind and never started their business? Tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to understand the question.
How many people have one in their mind and never started their business? They're already a success. They're already a baller. They're already sitting in San Tropez on a yacht. They're already there. They're styling out, right? We do that in our heads before we even get the first activity done. It's like, yo, son, I'm gonna be chilling in Turks and Caicos for my yacht. Bruh, you still in your mama's basement. Let me stop. All right, so this is Walmart SWOT analysis, right? Walmart SWOT analysis is their strengths. Walmart is a powerful retail brand. It has a reputation for value for money, convenience, and a wide range of products all in one store. Weaknesses. Walmart is the world's largest grocery retailer, and control of its empire, despite its IT advantages, could leave it weak in some areas due to the huge span of control. Even though it's a conglomerate, parts of it can be broken and attacked because it's too big, right? So it's one of the things where your strength of being a global retail international supergiant can also be a weakness. You are a global retail supergiant who can be hacked, right? Opportunities to take over, merge with, or form strategic alliances with other global retailers focusing on specific markets such as Europe or the greater China region. Threats. Being number one means that you are the target of competition locally and globally. The key thing that you want to take away from here is, as a SWOT analysis, people are paid real money to do these simple things. Figure out a company's strength, weakness, opportunities, and their threats, right? You as an individual business owner and someone who is working with or trying to work with other businesses and products and services, you need to understand your personal strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, right? So I want to make sure you're clear on that, because one thing I see in a lot of individuals, companies, is ego and arrogance, right? I would say right now, let go of your ego, you won't make it, right? Don't attach your ego too much to your business. Don't make it about you. Don't make it about this lifestyle thing, this thing. It becomes very dragging on the spirit, because if you don't achieve something, it affects your ego, right? Because your ego is attached to your business. And what happens with a lot of people when their ego is attached to their business, they feel as though what reflects on their ego also reflects on their business. It's like, no, you just had your ego attached to your business, and you shouldn't have. So when your business failed, that doesn't mean you failed, it just means your business model failed, right? So I want you to be clear with that. Detach your ego from your business so that you can be a success, because your business is not you. Your business is a part of you, but not you, so that you're clear on the fact that you have to detach your ego from it and not be too what we call haughty or arrogant, right? Haughtiness and arrogance can destroy your opportunity because it closes doors on you, right? Like if you already think you made it, what happens when you meet a venture capitalist who wants to give you $2 million to start your company? But yet, because of the fact that you're arrogant, you're like, you know what? I don't think I'm writing that check to you, player. You already a success. Like some people have this thing about being a success before they truly are a success, right? Be careful, be humble, and show humility, because you're gonna have a lot of people out here who's gonna read your energy. They're gonna know if you are who you say you are and how you promote yourself and how you leverage your business. People want to give you money, believe me, because people want to see you successful. That's why they have a Shark Tank. So I want to make sure I respect each other. So I have 10 minutes left. I'm going to run through the rest of this because I'm going to respect everybody's time, and we want to close out at 8:30 on the dot. A well-crafted, and this is back to what we were talking about earlier, a well-crafted mission and vision statement becomes the glue that binds the various parts of the organization together and drives behavior in your employees. Once you hire, I just had a discussion off camera with Zahira about her creating a operations and training manual so that she can train, teach, and skill up her next employee, right? You do not have to be everything to everyone. You just have to get that first employee who understands your principles, your policies, your vision, your mission, your values, and delegate and coach, right? You don't have to say, oh, I got to run this on my own. I'm a one-man, one-woman operation for the rest of my life. Don't do that to yourself. You'll burn out before you get anywhere. What are your organization's vision and mission statements? What is your personal vision? Very important things to understand because you want to be able to look at your vision and your mission and your personal vision, and that gives you a sense of grounding and also a sense of direction. You're grounded while walking, right? Organization's vision, organization's mission, the organization, your marketing goals and marketing objectives. I said before, use every social media platform as a free marketing platform. Promote, promote, promote. If people don't know you, they will not buy from you, right? So a business portfolio is a collection of businesses and products that make up the organization, right? So for instance, Myers has an organization called Dorchester Arts Project, right? But when a person hears Dorchester Arts Project, they don't know that Dorchester Arts Project has individuals who does graffiti, they do MCing, they do party promotion, event planning, production, or they do murals, you know, they do a lot. They do events. They actually, so when you hear Dorchester Arts Project, it's actually an entire business portfolio under that, right? But the key thing for Myers is how does he get all of those businesses under that portfolio in a way where he can monitor them and actually start to look at ways to make profit, right? So you want to say to yourself, do I have a business, but also am I developing a business portfolio of products and services? Business portfolio planning involves two steps: analyzing the current business portfolio, shaping the future portfolio by developing strategies. So one thing that you need to understand too is that you need to understand what your market penetration is going to be. You are already involved in either a business and an industry that already has a market. You want to be clear about what market that is, right? Each total market must be examined in the light of the size of your total market, size of the market that is interested in your products, size of the market that is available for distribution of your products, size of the market that already buys competitive products similar to yours, size of the market that your company can serve, and the size of the market that your company can reach with advertising and distribution. These are important things, right? Do not overthink the simple, and do not create simplicity out of the unsimplistic, right? And the way what I mean by that is there are some very critical things you're going to have to do. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to overthink something simple, right? Like, don't overthink it, right? Simple. Hey, I have a great product. Do you want to buy it? How much? $15. It costs too much. All right. You want to buy it for 12. Okay, it costs too much. You want to buy it for 10. It costs too much. All right, I can't sell it to you because now I'm losing, right? Simple stuff. Walk away, right? Like, it's okay. It's okay, but you got to understand where your profit is. You also got to stay in the market and who you sell to. So each total market must be examined in the light of, does everybody have this written, or does everyone have this memorized or took a photo of it? I'm going to move on for the sake of time. To share? Nah, they can't. I would love to, but I'm still in the process of tweaking it so that it's a thing, you know. I'm trying. but I will definitely give them. So, did everyone get it? All right. Size of the total market, size of the market that's interested in your products, size of the market that is available for distribution of your products, size of the market that already buys competitive products, size of the market that your company can serve, size of the market that your company can reach with advertising and distribution. I'm gonna probably skip that, right? This is something that's a little higher level business school stuff. This is based off of the Boston Consulting Group. They have what they call a growth share matrix, right? Now, a growth share matrix is based off of your market growth rate. If you get into a certain market, there are 4 things that they use relevant to saying, are we gonna go or no go in a certain space, right? So what they have is stars, question marks, cash cows, and dogs, right? Stars are based off of the fact that they have large penetration, they have good price points, so on and so forth. Question marks is, we're doing okay, but we're not really penetrating the market heavy. Cash cows is like, okay, this is a given. We're going to stay in this space, good money. Dogs is like, get rid of it. We've been struggling at this for the past 9, 12, 24 months. We're not making no money. We're losing our shirt. Let's get out of it, right? They have this thing where they talk about market growth rate. So think about the Y and the X axis. Market growth rate is on the left. Relative market share is on the horizontal, right? So they think about things relevant to the market share and market growth. They're not seeing it, and it's over here. No market share, no market growth. It's a dog, right? But that's a case study, business school, so relevant to this, but it's just like not relevant to what y'all trying to do right now. Okay, so market growth. What industry attractiveness? How big is your market? Right? You want to ask yourself that. Is it a large enough to sustain your business and competition? If you come into a market where there is already cutthroat competition, are you going to be able to sustain yourself in that market and also make a profit? If not, study the market a little bit longer before you dive into it so that you don't become what we call a wet fish. You got in, you got wet, you got thrown back on the land, and you died, right? Be careful of that, because we tend to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get into this, I'm gonna do this thing. And there are some people out here like, oh no, bro, this is where I eat. When you come in here, you're gonna have to come in here with some competition, right? Because there are people who eat in certain industries off top, right? So how big is your market? Is it a large enough market to sustain your business and competition? What is the growth trend for the next 5 years? You want to ask yourself that. Whenever you plan out your business, you want to ask about 36 to 60 months. You want to think about the horizon of your business, right? 36 to 60 months. What is your business horizon? Because most businesses stabilize in 3 and they start making real money 5 to 7. Once a market has been identified, what is the size of the actual market that you can compete in, right? The actual market segment that you can sell to may be a small fraction of the total market, right? You want to be clear on that particular piece. Whatever you're going to do, your company is coming into a market that's already pre-existing. You have to figure out, am I the smoothest, slickest, shiniest coin in the bank? If I'm not, how do I become the smoothest, slickest, shiniest coin in the bank, right? You got to know that. You can't be subjectively like, yeah, I'm just going to be the best thing ever since sliced bread. Nah, you got to prove it, because there's real people in your industry already who is going to cut your throat the first time you come out and you're a little bit sloppy and a little bit uncouth and a little bit unpolished, right? There are individuals in certain industries who are very polished, who have been in those industries, who have been feeding their kids, sending them to college, they done got a retirement off it, they're in that industry. If you come in that industry and try to take their food, they're looking to kill you, right? So be mindful of that. And on that note, we will, market growth rate. I'm gonna give you one piece of math. Market growth rate is used as a measure of a market's attractiveness. MGR equals individual sales this year minus individual sales last year divided by individual sales last year, right? That's a piece of math that you can take with you for the rest of your life. That's your market growth, right? How much did it sell this year versus how much did it sell last year divided by how much sales you made last year, right? It's simple equation. MGR equals individual sales this year minus individual sales last year. And if it's sales last year is your divider. Markets experience high growth are ones where the total market share available is expanding. You want to get into an industry that's expanding. You not want to be in industries where they are collapsing based off of COVID and other market forces that are happening, right? Where the total market share is available expanding and there's a plenty of opportunity for everyone to make money. You want to be in industries where you have the opportunity to grow. You do not want to be running a business where you're teetering along 5, 10 years down the road, right? And on that note, I want to thank everybody for coming out and here at the 8:30 hour, and whoever hasn't sent me their homework, I will note that by you getting it to me by tomorrow, and it will come back with a reply of late if you did not turn it in by tonight. And I thank you all, and you all have a moment to eat the rest of the food, take the rest of the snacks, shake hands with everyone, make sure everyone is smart. I know you just came in, you're new, Katarina's new, everyone's,
This individual's new.
this brother here is new. So can we all make sure we do one thing? We tell each other our names, our businesses, our phone numbers, we share our IGs, we share our social handles, and everybody is a friend of everyone else. And on that note, I thank you all for.
Bye, everybody. Feel free to text me. Okay, bye.
Anyone online that wants to make sure you say hello to everyone online, and if you want to exchange information with individual
Hi,
live.
guys. Wish I was there. Hey, photograph girl. Your dress is mad cute. Okay.
Thank you.
Make sure y'all network. Connect with each other.
Yeah, I would love to. I love things like that.
Same back time, same back channel next week, Thursday, 6 o'clock. And I will make sure y'all, I'll send out the homework by Saturday. Thank everybody for showing up.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to. I don't know, one of you say stop.